What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Power Play with CJ. So we're focusing on the 2015-2016 Montreal Canadiens season preview and what to expect from the Habs in 2015-2016. Still have yet to name a captain. It's probably supposedly it's Max Pacioretty. I'd give it to PK Subban myself, but that's just me. Going in. Right now, they're top three team in the Eastern Conference. I mean, they're up there with Tampa and with New York Rangers. I mean, that I think it's those three, and then there's that next rung. Whether it's the Islanders and Pittsburgh or Detroit, whoever. But those are the big three in the East, and I can easily see this team going to the Stanley Cup final next year. Carey Price is the best goalie in the world. I'm not gonna tell you guys that. And just there's I like the D. Obviously, I'm a PK Subban fan. I love the goaltending situation. Forwards, Galchenyuk supposedly playing center this year, which I've been saying for the last 3 years. I'll believe it when I see it. And I think he can develop into a really good number one center in the NHL. I thought that when they drafted him. I thought that when he was with Sarnia, and now, I think if he's given that chance, he'll do some great things. Alex Semin, whatever. That's not anything to rely on. He is probably the most inconsistent player in the NHL. But, hey, what do you got to lose, right? The Habs I thought, should have done more this offseason in terms of getting help up front, particularly on the wing. And, they got Semin, Thomas Fleischmann on PTO, and Zach Cassian. Those are the, acquisitions up front. You're digging yourself a hole if you think that's going to get you that's a necessary improvement. I will say this, I've hinted at it, I'll probably do a whole separate piece on it, probably the next couple of days. I think Jerome McGinley ends up in Montreal. I think that's the deal that's going to be made. I know the Habs wanted Patrick Sharp to kick the tires on a few other free agents, but I think McGinley goes to Montreal and has, Colorado's going to struggle this year. They're not going to be as great of a team as people think they are. I mean, they're going to be more like last year's team as opposed to the team they had 2 years ago. So I think that the Habs will take advantage of it and make a deal for Ginla. And I'm not saying it's going to make them, a legitimate favorite to win the Stanley Cup, but that's a deal that's out there. And I think, their front office is pretty good at that. They'll explore other options. They'll kick the tires on guys and, definitely do what they can to improve. I mean, I like the nucleus they have. I mean, I've talked about how much I like Pacioretty, how much I like Subban, how much I like Carey Price, and, God knows they've all beat up my Bruins enough over the years, but, there's still moves to be made, and I'm very, very curious to see what they do because, I like the nucleus and all that, but the bottom line is, your window doesn't stay open forever, and if you're the Habs, you're gonna say, all right, what can we do to win a cup in the next 2 to 3 years? Now, can they win it as wrestling instructed? Yeah, Carey Price can win 16 playoff games for you, but the Eastern Conference is stronger than it was last year. There's no other way to shake it. We got. Unless Stamkos leaves Tampa, that team isn't going anywhere for the foreseeable future. I think the Rangers will have a nosedive, but you look at again teams like the Islanders, those are the teams in the East that are really, really good, and all the rebuilding teams aren't going to suck forever. So the Habs going to look at it and say, let's do what we can to put ourselves in a position where we can win the cup, in the next few years. And I think going out there and getting a guy like a Jerome McGinley will do that. I like the youth they have in the organization. I think they've drafted very, very well. I'm a huge Jacob De La Rose fan. I actually saw him. I walked out of the draft with him in Newark in 2013. He's a tall kid, lanky. He's put weight on since then, but he's still. They had him listed like 210. He's not 210. I don't think he weighed 180 pounds when I saw him in 2013. But there's just they're a contender. They shouldn't be discounted, but I think he can revamp it. And I'm not the biggest Michel Therrien fan either, for what that's worth. I think he wore out his welcome in Pittsburgh, and I think that's what's going to happen here. I think he's good for a rebuilding team, but once you get close, you need a guy that's going to kind of ease up the reins a little bit. I think Therrien's more of a taskmaster and a hard ass, if you will. You need a guy that doesn't go 0 to 100 as quickly as Therrien does, and particularly with those great teams. Because if you've got a great squad, you don't need some shithead coach yelling and screaming at you 24/7. You just don't. So, again, this is one of the more intriguing teams in the NHL for me. Winter Classic's going to be great. If you guys saw my coverage of the Winter Classic press conference, I was there. Brian Flynn and guy by the name of Ivan Conway, both offensive inside there. It's on the site somewhere. Look it up. I'm looking forward to the Winter Classic as a Bruins fan. I think that could be the one. I think the Habs are going to lose the Winter Classic. I'm just going to say that because the momentum and everything else is going to be all on the Bruins. I mean, I stood at Gillette Stadium with the 50-yard line the day of that press conference. It was like, I can only imagine playing a hockey game out here. And, that'll be the Bruins. I'm not even trying to be funny. That'll be the Bruins Super Bowl, if you will, next year, considering they're in the midst of their own little rebuild. And the Habs are one of the best teams in the NHL right now. Anyway, that's on this episode of the Power Play with CJ. Stay tuned for episodes throughout the off season and beyond. Later, guys.